educate and inspire our community. So thank you both for that. Appreciate that.
Well, we got some questions for you, brother. Like
Yes,
I said, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yes, sir.
It's always good seeing you. Happy New Year's to you,
Thank
the whole 9 yards. But let's talk about a journey, Cliff. How did it all begin, man? Your childhood and to become an adult, man. How did it all begin, man?
Yes, sir. Well, first, again, I'm humbled and honored and blessed just
Okay.
to be here. I turned 72 Christmas Eve,
Wow.
and
Okay.
so I'm blessed. Just again, a lot of, as you know, a lot of brothers that we know didn't make it that far.
That's right.
So each day is a blessing. So with that, my mother was from Oklahoma,
Okay.
and so I was born in the state of Oklahoma after my mother graduated from Langston College, the only historical black college in the state of Oklahoma.
Right.
My father was working out there at the time as an administrator. They hooked up, got married. I got born a year later on Christmas Eve, 1952. And so
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, 1952. So, but my time in Oklahoma was short-lived. My father was from North Carolina,
Okay.
Winston-Salem. So he decided to move back to North Carolina when I was 2. And so my childhood was there with North Carolina, and until I was 15. And during my childhood in Winston-Salem, during the time I grew up, as you all guys know from history, that was still the segregation era.
Right.
So I had to drink from colored water fountains. I had to go to the colored bathroom, sit in the colored section of the bus, sit in the colored section of the movie theater,
Right.
in the restaurant, all that. That so many of our ancestors did.
So you experienced it yourself.
Experienced firsthand. They had to read about it, had to see a movie about it, lived it.
Yeah.
But the beauty of it was my grandparents, God bless them, Ed and Hay out grades, my daddy's mom and daddy, they and plus my parents, other folks, always encouraged me to be studious, to go to school, work hard, study hard, because their faith was that one day things are gonna change,
Okay.
and when things change, you got to be ready. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You know what I'm saying. So my parents instilled in me the importance of education. They sacrificed a lot. Sent me and my siblings to Catholic school in North Carolina.
Okay.
But it was an all-black Catholic school in North Carolina. All white teachers, all white nuns, all black students, because I was the South at the time. So even the Catholic school was segregated. So we had, but we got a good, firm, solid education. And the key thing that happened during that time, I mean, I can talk about other folks who associate with my family, my mother and father, who were involved actively in the civil rights movement,
Okay.
demonstrations, and then that inspired, motivated me. But the key person, of course, the key event in my life when I was 9 years old, and during that time period, was that my parent, there was a young preacher from Georgia who came to speak at the AME church there, Brother Jared and Brother McCray, Dr. King.
Dr. King.
And so my mom and dad thought it was important for me, even at that young age, to hear this great man speak. So we get to the church is packed, standing room on, black and white, black and white folk. A lot of cops there, undercover, as I realize it now, because of the Dr. King's importance and the concern about his life and safety. So the only seat for me, y'all can both appreciate this, the only seat for me, because it was so packed, was on the piano stool at the front of the church. So as it turned out, that was the best seat in the house. So I was close to that. I was close to the pulpit.
Wow.
And so I got a chance to see Dr. King up close and personal, and to hear him speak as a child of 9. And even though it was years ago, over 60 some years ago, I remember his presence. I remember him saying that I thought he was talking to me. He's strive to be the best you can be. If you can't be a tree, be a bush. If you can't be the moon, be a star. But just strive to be the very best, whatever you are. All these years later, I remember that resonating. Wow. Working hard, studying hard, being the best you can be. And after it was over, Jerry and Brother McCray, my daddy, in his wisdom, took me by the hand, just like your daddy did to you.
That's right.
Took me by the hand and to shake the hand of Dr. King.
Wow.
As a child of 9. And just him looking in my eyes and just shaking his hand is something
Dr. King
all these years later. And I look back on what I've been able to do and try to achieve and try to stand for. I look back to that moment in my life as a child and being able to hear Dr. King speak, to meet him, shake his hand is something that resonates with me. And I think it was something that was a godsend for me as a message to me.
That's right.
Your life, you're here to do something special, and you continue to work at it, work hard at it. And so anyway, so that was really great. And there are other things that happened in North Carolina, but you mentioned Winston State University, which is a university I kind of grew up around. And as a sidebar, since I need to do a sports show here Tuesday and Friday, I got a chance to see up close and personal the great Earl the Pearl Monroe.
Earl the Pearl.
Earl the Pearl. We went same state.
Yeah,
I got a chance. He went there. I got a chance to see him from a freshman to a senior. The coach of the same state, the legendary Big House Gaines, he's in the Hall of Fame up in Springfield. Coach Gaines, his daughter Lisa was in my class. So we got a chance. We got free tickets to the games.
Wow.
We got a chance to go to the practices. So it was just that childhood. That part of my childhood was wonderful. Got a chance to see Earl the Pearl in practice and the games for free, and so it was great. And I got a chance to see him years later after he retired from the Knicks. I've seen him around in different places, and I reminded him of that. We laugh about that, but that was one of the great experiences to meet. First to meet Dr. King, of course, but then to meet Earl the Pearl Monroe and to see him play. He was great, one of the greatest of all time. Yeah, that'd be fun. So let me move forward. So anyway, so we after when I was 15, my father decided to move. Even though he grew up in Winston-Salem and didn't really want to leave his childhood home and his parents. He had the opportunity to come here to New Haven for a better way of life, because even the South was still the South at that time.
Right.
My father thought for me and for my two sisters and brother, that coming here would be we'd have better opportunities going forward. And some people may remember Reverend Dr. Edwin Evans, who was the pastor at Dixwell Avenue United Church of Christ, still on Dixwell Avenue now, was very outspoken civil rights leader here, and it was a dear friend of my mother and father. He was one who made the call to ask him to come and consider coming here and moving here. So we moved here, and when I got here, even though I've been in segregated schools all my life except for 1 year, my last year in North Carolina, I went to an integrated school. First time in my life, went to school with white kids when I was ninth grader. So we moved here, and Daddy was trying to figure out, my father was trying to figure out what schools I should go to. And so he came up, he was talking to us before Dr. Evans had introduced him to some people. And there was a school up in Washington, Connecticut. Some people never heard of it. Washington, about 50 miles from here, up in the boonies, in the hills of Connecticut, called the Gunnery. It's called the Gunnery Prep School, private school, boarding school. And my father said, so my father took me over there to take the test, and I passed the test, and they gave me a scholarship to come. And I was like, I got to tell you, I was kind of leery because, I had to leave home. First of all, I'm away from North Carolina, all my boys, my homeboys, my family, friends, and I moved here to Connecticut, don't know nobody.
Right.
And so now Daddy said, well, I'm gonna see you at this private school, and you got to live up there. So one thing to be taken away from your home in North Carolina, then you had to come, then take away from your home, your family. But my father kept instilling, my daddy, God bless him, he said, listen, it was tough on him too. I was the firstborn, his first son, but he said, I'm doing this for you. My job as a father to do the best for you, make the sacrifices, steer you in the right direction, and give you the best opportunity to make it out here. And so he thought that going to this private school, down the white private school up in the boonies of Connecticut, would benefit me and down the road. And to his credit, even though it was a struggle, I got to tell you, it was a tough adjustment for me culturally and otherwise. I was able to make it. I did okay academically. And the good thing for us, y'all can appreciate this, as black men, that there was only a handful of brothers there, many from the South. There were brothers from Virginia, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, but also brothers from Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, and from New Haven.
Okay.
So I got a chance to connect with some brothers from New Haven who we met each other for the first time, talked about stuff, and worked on trying to organize, mobilize, and to the Black Power movement, and understand and appreciate our role as young black men to get an education and to be ready and be prepared for the future. So it was a good foundation for me, in spite of the challenges, the cultural challenges that we face. And I can tell you this quickly. And for me, growing up in the South, when you're in the South, that time, all you know is black and white. You don't know nothing about just black folk and white folk. That's all you know. Black folk and white folk. That's the way we grew up.
Right. Okay.
When I get up to Connecticut, I got to learn Italian. I got to learn there's Irish. I got to learn about Jews. I got to learn about Poles. I got to learn about all these different ethnic groups who don't necessarily always get along.
Right.
And that was a learning experience for me to say, well, you just can't group all white people together because they have differences among themselves and cultural differences and political differences. So that from that standpoint, it was a learning experience for me, and it helped me grow and develop, I believe, into to where I'm now in many respects.
Praise God.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you made mention about meeting Dr. King, man, as a kid. So 9 years old, right?
9 years old.
9 years old. See, and I remember I was reading also when Bill Clinton met John F. Kennedy.
Yes.
when he was in
That's right.
college, I think, or high school.
High school.
Matter of fact,
That's right.
you know, and they said he didn't wash his hands, you know, for a long time. But he inspired Bill Clinton to become president, to get into politics.
He did.
So did Dr. King kind of inspire you a little bit?
Well,
you know, the speech you heard as a kid.
Well, that's a good question. So I think I look back on it in terms of because the times in which we lived, he was still fighting for racial social justice, you know, in North Carolina, I mean, throughout the South and throughout the country. And that was, so yeah, absolutely. The short answer is yes, he did. And as it turned out, Dr. Evans, who I mentioned, who's a good friend of my family, was very involved in civil rights. In fact, he and Dr. King were colleagues in many ways.
Right.
And he worked and pushed for social justice here and across the country. And so his presence in my life helped to encourage and motivate. Coupled with Dr. King, being made to meet Dr. King, hear him speak, Jerry, shake his hand, and follow his life. Because I kept looking back on that as I grew, as we grew older and developed. I kept saying, well, God put me there for a reason. I didn't have to be there that night for my parents. So to having met Dr. King and being around people like Dr. Evans and being encouraged by folks like my parents I talked about and so many others, that all those converged together to encourage me, to inspire me, to motivate me that whatever, get your education, strive to be the best you can be, but use that college degree, use that law degree to help your community, to better yourself and better your community. Be an inspiration, motivate folks, challenge the status quo, be a change agent, be a difference maker. And so all along the way from high school through college, through law school and beyond, I've had a chance to meet different folk and to be exposed to folk. And everything happens in life for a reason. They got steers you different ways. So throughout so from that standpoint, of course, I mentioned Dr. King and of course Pearl Monroe. But when I'm in college, so I graduated from the Gunnery Prep School and I attend Tufts University in Massachusetts, right outside of Boston, Medford, Mass. And I get there and I get involved in politics, campus politics.
Okay.
And get elected president of the Black Student Union. And so one day when I'm serving as president, the president of the college calls me and says, Mr. Graves, I need a favor of you. And I said, what is that, sir? He says, Muhammad Ali is coming to campus to speak. And I need somebody to pick him up at the hotel.
Wow.
And I need to introduce him tonight at the program. And you're the president of the Black Student Union. I thought you'd like that honored opportunity. I said, man, I couldn't help myself. Inside, I'm trying to be cool with him. But I said, oh, man, absolutely, Mr. President. So that day, additional meeting Dr. King, you can appreciate the fact being able to spend the entire day
with Muhammad Ali.
Wow. And hear him talk trash the whole day. He talked trash about the car we picked him up in. He talked trash about everything. But he was Ali. But I gotta tell you, one of the great days of my life, to be with him and my boy Dennis Mink, who went to Weaver High School in Hartford. He was with me, and Dennis had a red Cadillac. That was his car, a red Eldorado that he had on campus. So we picked Ali up in a red Eldorado. He was talking much smack about us in Dennis's car. We had a good time with that. But the point is that and then when he got time to speak, of course, Ali, very brilliant, brother. Brilliant, brilliant. And always spoke wisdom.
A lot of charisma too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everybody, the place was packed. Place was packed for black and white. Integrated crowd was there to hear him because he was at that time popular figure. And this was 6 months before the Rumble in the Jungle went forming.
Okay.
Wow. And the 6 months. So he came to us and then he went into training. He left us and went for the fight. And then of course but this is the same year he fought George Foreman. So it was great for us to meet, great for me. Great experience to be around Ali. So that's another blessing. So I'm looking at all this. So I meet Ali and spend time with him. And of course that inspired me. And then of course been a student there during the period of time. We had a chance to interact with members of the Black Panther Party and other Congress people and black elected officials and people like Nikki Giovanni and folks like that, poets and stuff. So we got a chance to interact with folks and be inspired and motivated to again. And everybody kept telling us, and college students, listen, you're blessed to be here. That you're fortunate to be here, but don't slip on it. Don't sleep on it. You use this opportunity to learn all you can. And when you get out of here, again, make a difference. Change you. You got to be a change agent. We need you to be in our community and be change agents. So that message was resonated from high school through college, and then I get to law school, and of course at Georgetown Law School in Washington, and that was a great experience for me as well. I got elected president I'm always getting president of the Black Student Union, the Black Law Student Association. I got a chance to interact with folks. We've been playing marches and demonstrations for social justice and legal justice there. Got a chance to spend some time to meet Louis Farrakhan.
Okay.
And Chief Justice Thurgood Marshall.
Okay.
When he was in the waning days of his life and his career, but I had a chance to meet him, and all I did with him just thanked him. And just said, "Thank you, sir. Thank you for opening the doors for all of us."
But you had the opportunity to meet them.
Just to meet.
Because your position with you is how God blessed you in your position.
Absolutely. Because I was blessed. I was blessed and got a chance to the Black Law Student Association.
Right.
So I just can't the blessings. I just continue to count the blessings, and I look back and reflect on you got put here for a reason to interact, just to meet these folks, and just so they can further inspire you and remind you of where we've been and the shoulders on which I stand. Right. I think that was a reminder for me in many ways, Jerry. So from that so I graduated from law school, and I get a chance to go back to North Carolina. Actually, I was torn between staying in Washington or going back to North Carolina. So I got a job as a legal aid lawyer. First job out of law school was a legal aid lawyer in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And so that was a good experience, of course. But then I got a job at Winston-Salem State University. You mentioned earlier. I actually went back and worked as an administrator there for a while, and which is another great experience for me to work and serve in that capacity. And while there at Winston-Salem doing that tenure, my time there, the great Maya Angelou was working at Wake Forest University across town from where I was working. And because of my involvement in the community, I got a chance to meet Maya Angelou.
Okay.
We were serving on certain panels with her on social justice and on poetry and community empowerment. And that once again was another experience for me, or eye-opening experience, humbling experience to be in her presence. And I can tell you this right quick. So I used to write articles on Black history and on politics and stuff. It appeared in the Black newspaper there. And so when I wrote this article it was a Black history article about my family, my great grandfather, who I'll talk about in a minute. And it was in the newspaper. So I remember this clear as day, brothers. One Saturday morning, I get this call early in the morning, and I hear this voice on the end that said, "Can I speak to Clifton Graves?" And I could recognize the voice, but did a little bit. This is Maya Angelou. I'm calling to tell you that was a great article that you wrote in the newspaper. Keep writing. So I was just flattered. I didn't know what to say other than thank you. But to get a call from the great writer Maya Angelou, to tell you she enjoyed what you wrote.
That's right.
That just, listen, I don't care what anybody else said, but the article, I said, Maya Angelou said it was all right. I don't care what Maya Angelou said it was all right with her. And if it's all right with her, it's all right with me. So, but again, just listen, I'm not that name dropping. I'm just giving you, you asked me how I got to be where I am.
Right. No,
and all these incidents along the way,
it's very humble.
I'm just humbled by that. But the fact that these things happen to me and happen for me, and just further,
and it helped develop who you are today.
Exactly.
And the reason why I'm applauding so much, because I'm into music, like you brought up my dad. And I tell folks, I got all these pictures for a reason.
That's right.
I done met Shirley Caesar, CeCe Winans.
I'm looking at them.
Dietrich Haddon, Franklin.
Absolutely.
And you know why I do that, Attorney Cliff? Because when I was young, I met the Temptations. I met Donny Hathaway, Melba Moore.
I came to your store.
Yeah, I met all the artists, Wilson Pickett. I met them all. And guess what? I don't have one picture to show for it.
See.
All right? I have one picture to show. But I said to myself, when I get in the gospel, I'm going to take pictures, because pictures is legacy.
That's right.
Now, if I leave this world, my grandkids, they can say Papa was with Mary, Shirley Caesar, CeCe Winans. He was with, and those people help develop who we become today. Right. And God put us in a position for a reason, man.
That's right.
But I never met Dr. King or Muhammad Ali. One thing.
Unfortunately.
I know you're fortunate, man.
I'm blessed.
But you know, if I could jump in 1 second, it was powerful, man. I knew it was gonna be epic, man, and powerful. And we commend you, Judge Greg. It's something, and then for you to become a judge, and to meet these great people of all different levels, man, to be able to show, and giving an ear to bring everything, to balance everything, and what I'm picking up in the spirit, you was always destined for greatness, man. You know,
That's right.
always destined.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, bro.
Yes, sir.
But I'm not sure greatness, but
No, it's greatness. It's great.
Yeah.
we all
From our perspective.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm humble. I'm humble you say that, but I always tell folks I'm just a country boy from North Carolina who just been blessed.
Right.
Blessed with these opportunities and exposure to folks.
But the reason why that we say this from one of your colleagues, you know, I'm going to say it. You know, well, first of all, this is actually the first broadcast on W.J.R.G television network and the internet radio station. I'm Dr. Jerry Green, along with Dr. Wayne McCray. We have in the studio attorney and Judge Clifton Graves Jr. He's our special guest tonight. We do have a phone number, 475-227-2170, if anyone wants to call. But the reason I say what I'm saying, because Black brothers, you know, they talk so bad about us from a negative standpoint. See, you know, and I tell, you know, he's my good friend, me and Pastor Donald Morris, we go back and forth sometimes on certain things because we have a lot of good brothers doing great things. And we need to share the success stories of that. Because everybody didn't come out of jail, everybody didn't go to jail, everybody didn't do on drugs. It was a lot of good brothers that stayed the course.
That's true.
And that's why I'm proud of you, because like I said, you taught me at Gateway.
That's true.
I mean, and
your brother.
Right, and my brother. But to have a Black instructor teaching you, I mean, you don't see a whole lot of that.
Right.
I mean, even when I was back then, but to see that, I was so proud of that because of the fact that and what you're doing now, like tomorrow, they're unveiling at City Hall about you, right? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so and I appreciate it. Thank you for that commentary and those comments. And I'm humbled and blessed, as I say, and just to be exposed to so many folk and who encouraged me, inspired me, and I'll get back to some in a minute. But so tomorrow, January 31st, 4:00, City Hall, open to the public, in a closed event. It's my picture is going to portrait picture is going to be unveiled in City Hall. That's going to be placed in the probate court room. And the reason that's significant, I mean, it happens to any judge that retires. That's what they do that for. But because I was the first African American to serve in that capacity, some folk thought it was on the Sister Martin. Saturday is the first day of Black History Month. Folks thought it was a good timing to do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Segue and tie into as we introduce and merge into another Black History Month, that event should happen, and that people need to know about it. As you said, people need to know that because at the time I served, again, I was the first African American to ever be elected, thanks to y'all for voting me in as probate judge. But there was only two. There was a sister named Sister Smith, Judge Smith, in Hartford. She preceded me in Hartford, and she's a little younger than I am, so she's still there. But the point is, we're only two. Right. We're only two African American judges, probate judges in the state. And probate judges are the only elected judges in the state of Connecticut. So the fact that to serve in that capacity and to be in a position to help people, because probate judges deal with folks from birth to death. You know, all kinds of issues to guardianships and adoptions and custody issues for children, to dealing with wills and trusts and conservatorships and mental health issues. We encompass all that. All that comes through probate court. So being able to be on the cutting edge and be able to interact with folk and help people, be in a position to help people as a probate judge is something that I cherish and I was blessed to do. And I'm hoping that I did help a few people.
But I got a question on that as well. How important is a will for a family to have a will made up? And how, I mean, and if they don't have a will, it has to go through probate court, right? Something, right?
Well, actually, the answer is yes to both. Yeah, it's important to have a will, but if you have a will, you do have to go to probate court. People think you can avoid it, but it makes it easier if you do. If you don't have a will, it gets more complicated because then the state of Connecticut has laws that says that if you don't have a will, this happens. This goes to your daughter, this goes to your wife or spouse or to your son.
Okay.
There's a rule set up or a pecking order if you don't have a will. But if you do have a will, then your wishes are adhered to. You say, this is what I want done.
Right.
I want this to go to my daughter, my wife, my son, my grandson, grandchildren, to my school, to my church, whatever. You can lay it out. This is what I want done, and the probate court is required to follow that. Okay. To follow those. So it's important to have, and also with terms of property, because you mentioned earlier what we do. Our folks have a lot of property. People think yes, we struggle financially, and we have folks in our community who are struggling, absolutely. But the point of the matter is, we got a lot of folk who got land, who own land, who own homes, who own property down south, and other places. And so that's wealth if you think about it. This is a form of wealth. So you want to protect that as best you can. And so we talk about and what we do now. I did when I was a judge, but now that I retired, the current judge, Judge Carson, Americo Carson, who succeeded me, we've done sessions, and we continue to do it. I'll let you know about it. We've done open and free sessions for folk who want to come and talk about wills, talk about trust, talk about conservatorships, how you can protect your assets, how you can say what's the best way to go about it. And we've done it primarily out of my church that I talk about, Dixwell Avenue Congregation United Church of Christ. We're also we're doing one at Emmanuel, but we opened it and we done it at Dixwell Senior Center, and so we opened to do it other places. So when that number that I think is being shown or whatever, people can reach out to us. But we're more than willing to come to your church, your community center, to wherever it might be, and discuss this because that information is so important. And about how to save your land, how to save your property, preserve your property, to distribute it to whoever you want to get it to. And so that's why probate court is so important.
Okay.
Absolutely. But having a will is very important because again, basically the will is you just saying, look, this is what I want to do with my property. Whatever I got.
Right.
Whatever I have, I wanted to go this person opposed to that. And the other thing I would say is clearly for us, especially our people, but anybody, any people, but certainly our folks as African Americans, it saves a lot of arguments and aggravation when you get to court. Because I'm gonna tell you, even with wills, people fight. But if you don't have a will, you have a big fight.
You got a big fight.
Big fight. People will come in and start fighting, arguing. Well, Daddy told me that. Daddy Jerry told me. Or Papa told me this. His granddaughter done it. I'm just messing.
Yeah, I got
and he told me I was gonna get the car. Or he told me I was gonna get this. Another grandchild said, no, he told me. But if you put it in writing, you know, then it clears it up.
It clears it up.
And so
right. No.
That's the way it works. It's
very
better to put it in writing. And
very
it
important.
makes things easier for everybody to put it in writing.
All right. Attorney Cliff,
Yes,
your greatest accomplishment so far that you're the most proud of, man. I mean, I know you accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and you're still going strong. You're still building your legacy. But what is it something that you're very proud of? You know that you're proud to put like that.
I appreciate that question, and it's an interesting one. And because some people would think it would be what I've achieved and accomplished, but the truth of the matter is, and I haven't mentioned my family much, but my parents, I was very fortunate and blessed to, because I had both of my parents in my life, both sets of grandparents. My daddy's mom and daddy, my mama's mom and daddy, and they were formally educated folk. My grandparents in Oklahoma, my mama's mom and dad were farmers. My grandpa had a big farm, chickens, cows, horses. He grew his own food every meal. He didn't have to go to the grocery store. He could go to the garden, and we could eat from his garden. That was my grandpa, and he had a barbecue place. He had his own business barbecue place, Jerry and Bill McCray, and he sold sandwiches and meals from his barbecue place. Businessman, so the businessman and the farmer. So I learned a lot from that, from both of my grandma and grandpa there. My grandmother, daddy's mother and father, grew up in North Carolina, worked in tobacco fields and in the tobacco industry, worked in tobacco factories in Winston-Salem, made cigarettes and cigars. But were very involved in the church. My grandma was a senior choir director, and played the piano, and for the church choir. My grandpa was the treasurer for the church. So they instilled in me as well as my parents the importance of church in your life, the importance of God, and the importance of working hard, studying hard. And so in terms of so my greatest accomplishment, I think that having been blessed by their presence and their wisdom. And I'm gonna say something about my grandma in a minute, about some wisdom she shared with me. But my children, I was married and now I'm divorced, but I was blessed with two children, a daughter Tamar Hayata, named after her great grandmother, and my son Malik Martin, named after Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Malik he's the youngest. He's in Atlanta, outside of Atlanta, working there, doing work. But Tamar's here. Tamar's here working in New Haven, working in the arts community. She has her own Reiki yoga business that she does stuff around the city, involved in the arts and culture, has her own little business stuff. So I'm proud of her. She's making her own mark. Right. And very proud of her social activism, which I guess she kind of gets from me, I guess. And Dad, I'll say that to her. And I'm so proud of her. So in terms of accomplishments and being blessed, of all the blessings I mentioned, having those two children, I guess, probably, and hindsight, family is also what's most important. And then my children, of course. And then I've been blessed, of course, with my parents are both deceased, but I have two sisters and a brother, Sister Kathy, who lives here in New Haven, Sister Donna, and my brother Eddie, who would live in Maryland, in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And but all three from New Haven. They all went to school in New Haven. All graduated from either Yale House or Korea and co-op rather. Eddie, my brother Eddie from co-op. And so they all have New Haven connections. Kathy's back here. She's here now working for city government, working in City Hall. And so, and instrumental is planning this program tomorrow. So those, I'm so blessed to have them, so many extended family members. I mentioned my church, I can't mention my church because you appreciate this. Dixwell Avenue, Congregation United Church of Christ. Both of the pastors who served me, Reverend Streets and Reverend Guilford, who are interim pastor now, Andre Guilford, Jerry Streets and Andre Guilford will be at the program tomorrow. I wanted them to, I want my pastors to be there to give the invocation and benediction because, again, I want to make sure you understand, even if it's in Benton City Hall, I want folk to understand this is my foundation.
It's your foundation.
That's my inspiration. And folk in that church have supported me through the good times, the bad times. You know, when I screwed up, messed up, because all of us mess up.
That's right.
And I'm getting to that in a minute. But I'll get to that. But all of us mess up sometimes. We're human beings. We're gonna screw up, mess up.
That's right.
We all do. But you got to have a foundation and a basis. So you got to be able to bounce up. Was that we fall down, but we got to get up. So and that's another motto and mantra try to live by. So with that, I know we got to wrap up, but I got to say two quick things. One, since we're on the verge of Black History Month again, so you told me inspiration. So my great grandfather, and I forgot to bring. I said I was gonna bring the picture in, but I thought it was just a radio show, not TV. But there's a picture I had on my desk when I was a judge. My great grandfather. His name was Neely Factory. Grandpa Neely was one of the first African Americans ever appointed United States deputy marshals in this country's history, and he served in Oklahoma, what was called then Oklahoma Indian Territory. There were a group of African American marshals he served with, including Bass Reeves. You know Bass Reeves. A lot of books and movies been written about him. My great grandfather rode with him. That was one of his boys and his mentors out there in Oklahoma at the time. And so my great grandfather made history. That's why I put that picture on my desk so people would know this is my foundation. Wow. His blood flows through my blood, and I'm inspired and motivated by his life and his legacy. And the quick story is this: Grandpa Neely Factory died 3 weeks after I was born. Wow. But after I was born, my mother, because we were in Oklahoma at the time, my mother took me to see him so he could see me before he passed up. For the good Lord took him to glory. And so my mother tells a story that she put me, and she put me in his arms, and he looked at me and looked at her and said to her, "This boy will be somebody one day." Wow. So in terms of legacy, and so I didn't know that. I never knew him. My mother would always tell me that story as I grew up. And so until the end of her life, she reminded me that your great grandfather said to her rather about me, you'll be somebody one day. So you had to keep working at it, struggling hard, be the best you can be, make a difference, and leave a legacy that people can be proud of. So those words still resonate with me to this very day. I'll probably say something about it again tomorrow, but I can't get away from that.
Yeah, you can't.
And my mother, told me that. And the final thing I would say, on the other side of my family, my grandmother, my daddy's mom, God bless her, who was the piano, who was the senior choir director, singing the choir, among other things. She did other stuff too. She sewed, she did all kind of stuff. Could cook anything she wanted. My grandma Hiada. Grandma Hiada would always say to me, "Boy, grandmas can call you boy." Right. As you both know, no matter how old you get, you're still a boy to grandma.
That's right.
So grandma said, "Boy, let me tell you something. There ain't but two things I want you to do in this life. I just want you to try to live right and try to do right.
Come on now.
Just live right and do right." And she said, and she knew, grandma was with her wisdom, said, Brother McCray and Brother Jerry, she said, you ain't gonna always live right. I know you're gonna mess up, you're gonna fall down, you're gonna make mistakes. She said, but you can always try to do right. Ain't no excuse to not do right. Do right by people. Treat people with respect and dignity. Do the right thing by folk. Always do that. But if you can live right and do right, I'll be proud of you and God will bless you. So I'm gonna pass that on to you, brothers, and those who listening. My grandma, he had his words of wisdom. Just try to live right and try to do right.
Wow.
Man, listen, I like that because I'm pastoring now, and when we close out our service, I say at Upright Ministries Outreach, we want your vertical to stay the same and your horizontal to bring you in a more mature place as you carry your cross, because at Upright Ministries Outreach, we want you to live right, do right, teach right, be right, love right, care right. And then Naomi, she says, and eat right, Pastor. And eat right. Yes, indeed.
I like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
your ministry.
Yeah, amen.
Young
Amen.
people.
You know, and I commend you. You know, I thank God for you, you know, because see, and we're in a pivotal time now. You know, this is a time, you know, especially for our heritage, our, you know, Black History Month, and for them honoring you this way going into Black History Month it's a blessing, man, and really,
Thank you. I agree.
Truly honorable, right? And there's
well
areas,
deserved, too.
yes. You know, all you know what you went through in life, you know what you've experienced, and to be in positions to judge righteously.
Yes, sir.
Ah, man, I just felt that thing. That thing just hit me like a ton of bricks.
Thank you.
Because we need that, and we have to value those things. And like you were sharing, I remember we talked about, you know, with your grandfather being a marshal and you know, part of the posse back then. You know, but it's a lot of history that we have. You know, Black cowboys. You know, you don't hear of those things. You know, and those things our young people need to understand, and they need to value those things. A lot of our history, they want to wipe it out. I remember coming up as a kid on Legion Avenue. They had the Black Panthers office there and everything, and then they wiped all that out, made a parking lot over there. You know, but it's a lot that, you know, our history is very important that our young people need to value. And if we don't talk about it, they don't see it, then we lose that value.
Right. Absolutely right, brother. I can't, in this, as Jerry indicated, he was a student in my class, so it was a brother Henry.
African
American history class. So, and I can't tell you how many students I've been blessed to taught like over 25 years at Gateway. So you have impacted, I think in a positive way, some many students, and then their parents, and then the people who are taught, their children are coming to take the class. And I can't tell you how many folks stop me in different places in New Haven, on the street, in parking lots, different stores, and say, "Listen, I appreciate what you shared with me." And my daughter went on to get her degree in African American history. Or I've been inspired. I teach my grandchildren about Frederick Douglass, about Harry Tubman, about Constance Baker Motley, and you know, and other folks who throughout our history who inspired and motivated us. So, and that's important. Our history is important. And we got to tell it. We got to teach it. And on that note, just quickly, since you mentioned history, I got to share. I'll be remiss if I didn't mention. I mentioned Constance Baker Motley a minute ago. The great Constance Baker Motley from New Haven, grew up here.
That's right.
Went to Troop, went to Hill House, went on to become law school, and went on to become the first African American woman appointed federal judge in this country from New Haven.
That's right. That's right.
Right here, roots in New Haven. Still got family here.
Wow.
She still has nieces and nephews and cousins right here in New Haven, and we got to lift her up. And especially as we enter another Black History Month, and see, and I got a chance again, and the blessing again, Brother Jerry Bud McCray, to meet her on several occasions, being in her presence, and I was just in awe of her, because all she went through was a young Black woman fighting civil rights cases in the South, traveling by herself, life being threatened, no bodyguards, just her, to get in the train from here to go down and fight, and survive. And was strong-willed enough, and smart enough. And one other thing I would say about her, people don't know this story. This Black history, we're gonna segue Black history. Constance Baker Motley.
Come on.
10 times before the United States Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Brothers, she won 9 cases.
9, okay.
9 out of 10. Not hardly any lawyer, black, white, green, can make that affirmation or make that statement. And it just shows her brilliance. Her brilliance as a lawyer and as an advocate. And by the way, just quickly, the sidebar was the 10th case that she didn't win initially. Eventually, the court ruled in her favor. Wow. So eventually, she was 10 for 10.
Wow.
Because she initially lost that case, and eventually the court came back and found her argument to be the favorable one, and ruled in her favor years later. So really, she was 10 for 10. So we got New Haven for. We got to lift her up. Connecticut, we got to lift her up.
We got to do something.
She's. I know there's some other people talking about the statue and some other stuff, schools, but we need to do something in New Haven to give her just due for all she did for us.
Attorney, we're going to wrap up in a few, but I got another question. What can we expect from this administration? We got Donald Trump as president. I don't want to knock him, too much on television, but
Understand.
you know, but I mean, are we in trouble or what? What you think, man?
So
You know, first of all, I didn't vote for the guy. All right, and the ones who voted for him, he's in. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he all the people that went to the Capitol, he freed them, basically let them go. I mean, he's also a criminal himself, and he's getting away. Are we in trouble as a country, or what you expect? I mean, what you think?
let me see. I think that's a good point, and the hope would be first year we'll have more discussions about this as a community because it's just tip of the iceberg. It's only been 10 days. We see already all the hell's been broken loose coming out of Washington. Now there are a lot of folk who look like us who supported him and voted for him. I got students in my class at Gateway who said that's their guy. So okay, fine. Everybody has a right to vote wherever they want to, but here's the thing we got to look at is that as through our history, they have been as bad as he is. Quite frankly, just be clear, and will be. Throughout our history as Black people in this country, we know that there have been folks far worse than him who were president, far worse than Trump, who served in that capacity, who didn't give a darn about us, didn't care about us at all, and enacted policies that were anti-Black. Now that being said, so our point is that first we survived that.
Right.
God blessed us, and we had the resilience and resistance, and resistance to continue to fight and survive, no matter what was put before us. Trump is just the latest one in a long list of presidents who served this country who really didn't have our interests at heart. So we know that. That being said, already, people. First of all, we can relate to the fact that there were people who stormed the Capitol, who broke in, destroyed property, and hurt people. Somebody was killed. They got arrested, went to jail, and he freed them, pardoned them. Think about all the people that we know, and I feel that we know, friends, family, who in jail right now for less stuff. Less stuff. Serving more time for less offenses than what they committed, and the president of the United States freed them. So what does that say? So I'm saying all the Black people who voted for Trump, think about that resonate for a minute. People that you know in your own family, everybody got somebody in their family who's been incarcerated. Everybody, or been arrested with something. Think about all the people that you know that are incarcerated right now.
People still doing time for weed.
And this man frees all these folks and then pardons them. And that's something that should resonate with us, especially Black people who voted for him.
But think about it too. Can you imagine if that was all Black folks that stormed the Capitol? Can you imagine? They had National Guards and everybody over there.
We've been in jail for life. I mean, because that was federal property. Yeah. So that's first thing. Second thing is this: on another level, the folks who, and this everybody, in terms of us as a people, we got to understand and appreciate even today, in aftermath of that plane crash, he's blaming the Democrats and Obama, for stuff and saying that the diversity and equity and inclusion programs initiated by both Obama and by Biden contributed to that crash. And secondly, he's issued orders that folks those programs be abolished. And those programs are opening the doors for our children and grandchildren to go to college, to get jobs, to get training programs, training opportunities, job opportunities, etc. And so the folks that supported him, then they got to let them resonate as well. That your children and grandchildren are going to be hurt by this man's policies. They're closing the door on all those programs. You've already seen Walmart and other businesses like that saying we're going to pull back on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that open the door for Black and brown people to get opportunities. He's doing that based on what he's saying. So already, we're going to feel the impact of this. And so we have to figure out a strategy, as we've done historically. How do we come together? How do we strategize to survive and succeed during these crazy times? And even with this immigration stuff, now, the immigration community, now let's be clear. There are a lot of folks who are from Haiti and from Africa who are immigrants too, who are going to be subject to this being arrested and taken back. And even folks, our Latino brothers who are from the Caribbean, from Central America, from South America, a lot of folks who look like us. There's a lot of Brazilians and Colombians and Costa Ricans who look like us, they have African descent. They're being rounded up too. So we have to look at this thing on several different levels, Brother Jerry, to how we're going to address it, how the church community, the political community, right, even in Connecticut. And just quickly, on that very point, a sister, I'm a Gateway, the teacher still teaching you. Just the other day, just this week, a sister came to me and said, Judge Graves, I was going to call you because ICE, the people, ICE, the federal people, immigrant people came to her door. We're going to arrest her. She had to go, unfortunately for her, she had to go find her birth certificate. And she said to them, why are you at my door? I'm Puerto Rican. She's a Puerto Rican. And if you unless you committed a crime, be Puerto Rican, y'all know this. You got dual citizenship. When you born Puerto Rican, you're a citizen of Puerto Rico, citizen of the United States. That goes back over 100 years. But this happened in New Haven. Wow. This happened in New Haven this week. So we have to be concerned about our neighbors, our friends, our relatives who are going to be impacted on by these new policies and implementation by this administration. And we got to be ready for it. We got to figure out strategies to combat it. We're ready to fight as best we can.
All right, my final question for Attorney Clifton Graves: how would you want your legacy to be remembered, man, when it's all said and done?
Well, as I said earlier, I think the key thing for all of us, is you want to, be remembered as one who cared for folks, who was a caring person, who was compassionate. There's, in the Bible, as you do unto the least of these, my brothers,
right,
you do unto me. And so I try to live my life accordingly, try to help those who I felt were needed help. Whatever position I found myself in, I wanted to be helpful and supportive and try to give people justice, in whatever situation they find themselves in. And that I tried to be fair to them as a judge and respectful folk. So I think for legacy of being a change agent, being a difference maker, Brother Jerry. Change agent, difference maker. Certainly a good brother, good son, good father, very important as well, and good contribute to the community, and being positive as a positive role model to our young people especially. But a change agent and difference maker.
Amen.
And
all right.
I'm humbled and honored. And
so,
thank you.
So tomorrow at what? 4?
So yes, tomorrow, New Haven City Hall, 165 Church Street, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
There'll be the unveiling of the portrait, and I'm honored and blessed.
Praise the Lord.
And humble.
Well, we're honored to have you with us tonight, Attorney and Judge Clifton Graves, Jr. Man, God bless you, man.
Thank you, Brother. Thank you,
Amen. We are so proud of you, man. I mean, you're making a big difference.
Thank you.
Made a big difference. Still making a big difference.
Thank you.
And keep doing what you're doing, man. You're making a difference in people's lives, man.
Appreciate that.
You're making a big difference in people's lives, man.
Thank you, brother.
And one thing I can say, nobody had nothing bad to say about you, brother. So that's a great thing.
I'm sure somebody out there might be. But I thank you, Brother J. I appreciate you saying that.
God bless you.
But I'm blessed. I'm fortunately blessed. Thank you both. Thank you, Brother.
Thank you,
Brother J.
Well, listen, only thing I can say, man, we just want to thank you for coming down to W.J.R.G. Internet, radio, and TV and Action First broadcast. And we just thank God, man. And you're always welcome here, man. We have to have you back for sure.
That's right.
And as we're going into the Black History Month, I definitely want to do something, else and point out, put some light on those that have paved the way for us, because like you said earlier, the shoulders that we stand on,
absolutely,
we have to honor those shoulders and hold up the bloodstained banner.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Because there's definitely bloodstained.
Yes. I was sharing with some young people. They don't know how it is to have dogs sicked on them and be hosed down, just because you're standing for righteousness.
That's right.
And for right and for humanity's sake.
Absolutely.
Amen.
So we definitely want to have you back. So only thing I could say, man, I want to thank you for taking action first. And we say action first. So if you could say that with me, just say action first.
On W.J.R.G. Television Network and W.J.R.G. Internet Radio Station. God bless you, brother.